Hi, my name is Jazmin, and today I would like to share with you my testimony, Blinded by Resentment. Ever since I came to America at the age of 3, I have attended the Salvation Army Church. And even though my mom was not a Christian, she would always send us to church with my grandma faithfully, every Sunday or every other service that she could. And growing up in a single-parent home, let me tell you, it wasn't easy. We were always scarce. We never had enough food, we never had enough clothes, and not even the best shoes. Sometimes it was so bad that the only thing we had to eat was a tortilla with lemon. And it was just so tough, and we would move constantly. I remember we probably moved like 10 to 13 times because my mom was always looking for rent that was cheaper so that she could afford it. And all these life circumstances made me question, why? I would say, why, God? Why does my mom have to work 2 jobs? Why did we have to come to America? Why am I suffering and going to a school where I don't understand the language? Why is it so hard? Why don't we have any food to eat? And all these emotions grew into bitterness. And from bitterness, it grew into resentment. And it made me a very quiet, a very reserved person that was always afraid to talk, always afraid to share with other people because I didn't want them to know my life. I didn't want them to know all my struggles. I didn't want them to think that I was different. And my bitterness turned into hatred at some point. So bad that I was blinded. It was as if my eyes were closed and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see none of the good around me. My life focused on the negative. And I hated people who didn't appreciate all the blessings they truly had. You see, I allowed the unpleasantness and hurt from my childhood to take control of how I saw life and the world, and it made me a pessimist. I always saw the glass half empty. In my mind, it was never half full, and I could not even fathom the fact that I could have complete secureness and happiness in my life. And when I was about 13 years old, after my mom had sent us to church with my grandma for so many years, me and my brother had had enough. We told my mom, "Mom, you don't even go to church. Why should we go to church? Why should we go if you don't go?" And of course, she couldn't tell us anything because she didn't go. So she decided that that was okay. And after 2 years of doing everything outside of God's will, He finally called me back by an invitation to go to church. I took that invitation, and actually my whole family went to church that day. And God did something special. He spoke to my life, and I knew that I couldn't be living with all the anger and bitterness in my heart. And I decided to let go of that. And with His grace and by His love, He slowly and surely started to mend my broken heart. He, God Almighty, turned my life around. I was no longer blinded by resentment, but I was seeing through a new lens, through the lens of His love. I was able to forgive and let go of all my past hurts, and I understood that all my life experiences were so that I could be a word of encouragement, so that I could give hope to those people that had felt and were experiencing the same things that I was feeling, that were feeling lonely, that were feeling anger, that were feeling bitterness. And I was able to appreciate and love them. And I made 1 John 4:7 the motto of my life, and it says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God." And I tell you today that if you have anger and you have bitterness, God through His love can change it, so that you will no longer be blinded by your resentment. You will no longer be blinded by your bitterness, but you can see things in a whole different way if you see Him through His love. Thank you for listening to me.